Would it have meant something to me if all of a sudden he showed up at the event for Lorraine? Of course it would have. You know, he was close with her also.
Thank you, honey. I love you.
I love you.
This is hard.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 13, Episode 12. And before we get into it, I'd like to give a special thank you and a shout out to my friends over at Rose Forever New York for my gorgeous bouquet of roses. Do you see how stunning they are? I mean, this is what you call a bouquet. And the best part, stunning roses that last the entire year. And they're offering my subscribers free shipping on all orders, so you can get yours right in time for Valentine's Day. It's the perfect gift. And make sure to check out the link in my description box below. Now, I really enjoyed this episode. I was here for Crystal finding her voice and getting Miss Annemarie together, because Annemarie, you tried it. And you look really crazy trying to have this one-sided beef with Sutton, and now you want to sit up here and be mad at Crystal when you're all the way in the wrong? But you know what? Let me not jump ahead. Let's just get right on into it, because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. Now we open up the episode with Sutton at home and Kyle comes over. Now the way Kyle has treated Sutton, you're better than me, because there's no way that Kyle would be back inside of my home. But that's just me. But anyhow, Kyle comes over, and is it just me, or does anybody else get tired of Kyle always teasing Sutton? And I know that you could look at it as it's just light teasing, she's just joking around, but there's something about it that feels like she's trying to shade Sutton. And Kyle making fun of Sutton for cutting her roses. She was like, oh, are you pretending that you're gardening again? And I said, leave her alone. It just seems like, are you jealous that you don't have roses growing out of your garden and Sutton does? Because Sutton's roses looked gorgeous. Maybe I'm just hypersensitive, but I was not here for the constant digs. And then when Kyle went into her fridge and was making fun of the fact that Sutton didn't have that much in her fridge, it's just like, if you're a friend of somebody's, why are you always trying to look for the bad? Because that's not a friend in my opinion. And it's like the constant comments, it's just giving that Kyle really does hate Sutton, and she's trying to mask it like she's just joking around, but it's coming off as passive aggressive, and I didn't care for it. And that's why I've always had an issue with Kyle, because Kyle does that nice nasty stuff, then she wants to act like she's a victim. So anyhow, they start talking about Kyle's celebration of life event. Remember that she hosted that event for her friend who took her life. So Sutton's asking Kyle, what did she think about her event? And Kyle says, I had a great time. So Sutton agrees and says that she had a great time as well, and that Kyle did a nice job putting it together. So now Sutton goes on to ask Kyle, where was Mauricio? So Kyle says that Mauricio wasn't there because he was on a business trip. She says, yeah, he was in Aspen, then he had to go to Mexico City, but he'll be back on Friday just in time for Dorit's Homeless Not Toothless Gala. And I loved how Sutton was not here for that excuse. She said, that's ridiculous. At the end of the day, you show up for your wife and her dead friend's family. And I agree 1,000%, because Mauricio, the fact that your wife lost her best friend, who's been a childhood friend, and Kyle had even told us in one of the episodes that Lorraine was in charge of her will and her trust in case anything ever happened to her. So this woman was always around you and your kids and your wife. She went on family vacations with you, and you also had a friendship with her as well. So that's really unacceptable, and it's BS at the fact that you weren't there. There will always be an excuse to not go to something because you have work. You have to make time. And Kyle, I watched the after show, and you having the audacity to be upset that Sutton asked you where your husband was. She didn't ask you anything that was out of pocket, in my opinion, because I would have asked that too. Also, as nasty as you've been throughout your time on this show, as nosy as you've been, If this had been anybody else's husband, you would have been saying, oh, I mean, that's kind of strange. Why weren't they there? I mean, if I were them, I'd be upset if my husband didn't show up. So it's okay for you to question and give your 2 cents about everybody else. But when it comes to you and your man, now it's, oh, well, back off. Don't talk about me and my husband. That's enough. And the same way that you want to sit up here and joke around about Sutton and her esophagus issues, so that's okay, but she has to back off about you and your husband when it's clear that something's not right. I said, Kyle, if you don't get out of my face, because I was just so irritated. So now Sutton brings up how Garcelle told her that Annemarie was coming for her at Kyle's event. So Sutton goes on to say, we had such a great time the other day for her birthday. I mean, she licked my armpit, so why is she coming after me? Then Sutton adds that Amarie needs to leave her alone and shut up about her esophagus. And I agree, because 1, that's nobody's business, and 2, you just got in this group, so why are you trying to go after somebody that you're just meeting? It's giving thirsty and desperate, and that you're doing Kyle's dirty work, Annemarie. That's why we don't like you. Now, Sutton, the only issue that I have with you is that you keep confiding in Kyle like Kyle cares about you and will actually defend you. That's where I get upset, because you see Kyle playing dumb and she's like, oh, really? I mean, yeah, you guys were having fun. Well, you can work that out on your own. That's not my problem, not my business. Then you have Kyle going on to say that Sutton is known for getting upset about the most ridiculous things. And I said, Kyle, this isn't a trivial issue. This is a new person coming into this group trying to say that Sutton is lying about her esophagus issues that are none of her business. And then she keeps talking about it every episode. That would be an issue for anybody. So for you to act like Sutton is making a big deal about this, just say that you don't like Sutton. Just go on ahead and admit it, because it's clear that you don't like her. And it's just weird to me that Sutton keeps trying with Kyle. And it's like, how many times do you have to be hit upside the head to realize that this woman does not see it for you? And Kyle, that was so nasty of you to say, well, maybe Sutton has finally met her match. I said, girl, what? Sutton has not done anything to Amarie. It's been the other way around. So now they change gears and Sutton brings up their Barcelona trip. So she goes on to add that since Amarie's back at it again, she no longer wants to invite her. And you have Kyle saying, well, you already invited her. You can't disinvite her. I said, oh, really? And I'm just that petty, where I would be like, yeah, Amarie, you're no longer invited. Don't even bother showing up to the airport. Sutton is irritated and she says, you know what? At the end of the day, Annemarie owes me an apology, and she absolutely does. Now we jump to a short scene with Crystal at home, and she FaceTimes Garcelle. They're talking about Kyle's event. Crystal says that Kyle did a beautiful job, and she says it seems like everybody knew why they were there except for Annemarie, because you have Annemarie talking about Sutton's esophagus and then had the nerve to imply that Sutton might also have an eating disorder as well. Crystal asked, well, we all want to know as well, what's Annemarie's end goal with this? Is she trying to embarrass and shame Sutton? Because it's getting a bit weird. And Annemarie, you should be so embarrassed to be at a celebration of life and you're talking about somebody else's health issues. You look like a complete weirdo. And the fact that Annemarie is coming in so hot just shows that she came on this show with an agenda. Because really good housewives know to let the drama unfold organically. You don't have to force it. And Annemarie came in with, okay, let me figure out who I can start with. And she said, okay, Sutton looks like the easiest target. But girl, you thought wrong. Because the way we are all chewing you up in these recaps and on social media, you should feel embarrassed.
And you're gonna always get it again and again and again.
Garcelle agrees, and she says that Annemarie needs to mind her business, leave Sutton alone, and stay out of Sutton's esophagus because it is bizarre. Now, the way Crystal was spilling tea, I was screaming. Crystal was like, yes, girl, I met her a few months ago at a holiday party. She was telling me that she was a doctor. Now come to find out she's a nurse. Very different. I said, ooh, let me find out that Annemarie's out here not being truthful. She goes on to add, Annemarie's been researching Sutton's esophageal issues all these months, and here I am. I Google her condition in 5 minutes, and I find out more than Annemarie has found out. Maybe I'm the doctor. I said, Crystal was reading in those confessionals, and I was here for it. I said, okay, Crystal, if we could get this from you 24/7, you could be a mainstay on this show. And I really hope that you give us a performance at this reunion, because when I tell you, Miss Mamas, the way it's looking, it looks like you might not be getting asked back for season 14. So now it's the night of Dorit's Homeless Not Toothless charity gala, and we see everybody getting glammed up. Now, the way I screamed because they were all laughing about that stupid name, Sutton was just like, I just don't get it. Maybe we'll see some homeless people tonight with some great teeth. Is that what's going to happen? I was like, Sutton, oh my gosh. But in all seriousness though, who said let's name this charity Homeless Not Toothless? Please show yourself, because it makes no sense. So now we see Kyle and Mauricio on their way to the gala. And when I tell y'all, it was so painful watching them trying to have small talk in the car. I don't care what anybody says. I believe that their marriage is over. And I do not think for a minute that they're faking this. I know that quite a few of you guys keep saying, no, they're doing this for a storyline. Don't underestimate Kyle. She's desperate to be on this show. And while that's true, I still believe that Kyle and Mauricio are going to get a divorce. I do not think that they're happy. And Kyle is not that great of an actress to fake this for a whole season. You can literally cut the tension with a knife between Kyle and Mauricio. She has checked out. In every confessional, she's shading Mauricio, talking about how unhappy she is, how annoyed she is by his traveling all the time. She's over him. You can't fake that. And I will not be surprised if Kyle makes the whole announcement about them getting a divorce and giving us more tea at the reunion. That's why she's been so tight-lipped and coy and talking in code all season long, and also to the press, because she wants to save this all for the reunion. I believe it, y'all. We're going to get all the tea. We're going to find out that they are divorcing and that she's officially dating Morgan. Listen, just my theory, but I really strongly believe that Kyle is being tight-lipped for a reason, because she wants to give Andy the official scoop at this reunion, and to also lock down the next 3 seasons, because believe you me, next season will be focused on her divorce. Then season 15 will focus on her being out in these streets and being a single woman again and finding herself. I'm telling y'all right now, it's a whole plan. So now Mauricio's asking Kyle about her celebration of life event that she had for her friend Lorene. So Kyle says the event was great, and now Mauricio starts questioning if the other husbands attended too. Now, Mauricio, that to me felt like you were trying to take away some of the guilt that you felt, because you knew good and damn well that you should have been there. And it doesn't matter if any of the other husbands attended, because at the end of the day, that was your family friend, and it's your wife who has suffered a tragic loss. It does not matter who else was there or wasn't there. You should have been there. And Kyle was so annoyed by you asking that, because she even said, I would have loved it if Mauricio had shown up to support, because that was his friend as well. So now Mauricio gives that lame excuse about how he's been traveling so much. And Kyle says, yeah, I'm going to be traveling too in the coming weeks. I'm going away next week, and then the week after that, I'll be in Spain. So Mauricio was taken off guard with that. He was like, wait, you're going to Spain? And she said, yeah. So Kyle goes on to say that it's a taste of his own medicine, because for the past few years, he's been doing the same thing to her, where He'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to Chicago, I'm going to Aspen, I'm going to New York, I'm going here, I'm going there. And she gets little to no heads up. So she says, well, now it's his turn. The writings are on the wall that Kyle is not happy. And she also wants to seek revenge. It's definitely showing me that there have been cracks in their marriage for quite some time. And she didn't mind covering it up and acting like everything was all great. But now she's tired. She's rethinking things. And now she's like, you know what? I don't want to save this man anymore. And her having no patience for him, that right there shows that Kyle has checked out of this marriage. Now we jump over to Dorit and PK, and they're already at the Beverly Hilton. They check out the ballroom. The ballroom looks great. The tables and the centerpieces look amazing, just like she wanted. Now I have to say, while Dorit gets on my last good nerve, she does know how to put a look together. I thought that she looked really good. I love the gown. And was it just me, or did anybody do a double take when they saw PK? I said, let me find out that PK is on that Ozempic too. I was like, all right, because he looked very different. Now Erika shows up, and I have to say, Erika ate in that pink. That pink dress was everything. I love the cut. The color was just right. It was like a Barbie pink. And you guys already know that my favorite color is pink, so I was living. But I thought that Erika looked good. And apparently, her dentist thought the same thing too. Her dentist came up to her, and mind you, he didn't even realize that Erika was his patient. He was like, oh my gosh, you look beautiful. My name is Dr. Justin. He was flirting with her heavy. So Erika's like, oh my gosh, you're my dentist. I was just in your chair a few weeks ago. So he's like, girl, I don't care about all that. Like, you look good. The way Erika was not feeling him at all, she was like, well, thank you so much. I'll see you inside. I said, damn. And the dentist was cute. I said, Erika, he's cute. He's in your age range. And a dentist in Beverly Hills, you know that he has a cute coin. Girl, I would have at least gotten his number, but I guess you do have his number if you're one of his patients. But either way, I said, Erika, don't be so hasty, especially after you just got out of a marriage with a man who was 40 years older than you. He's 80-something now or 90-something, and he left you in ruins. And you weren't even physically attracted to him. I just said again, girl, I don't know why you're passing up on the dentist, but okay. I thought Crystal looked pretty. And was it just me, or did Kyle and Crystal's dresses both favor? At one point, I thought that they both had the same dress on. But anyhow, we see Annemarie and her husband, Marcellus, arrive. And I said, Andy, you better ask Amarie all the questions about these charges that have popped up regarding her husband. And Amarie, I hope that you're prepared, and I hope that you're ready. And not gonna hold you, I was irritated the minute I saw Amarie and her husband appear on my screen. I just said, oh God. Now when Kyle and Mauricio arrive, I was surprised that they didn't hold hands. And then you have Kyle saying that it's always awkward going to these events now because of people whispering about their marriage and analyzing their body language. And I said, Kyle, it's not that people are analyzing every single move. It's just the fact that it's painfully obvious that you and Mauricio are clearly having issues. Because your body language towards one another, it reeks of we're unhappy and we want out. Especially you. So don't act like everybody's sitting at home over analyzing what you and Mauricio have going on. It's not that deep. We just have eyes and we're not dumb. We can see clearly that something's not right. That statement reminded me of Robin from Potomac when she said, I think it was earlier on in this season, when she was like, if people want to sit up here and analyze me and Juan's marriage, then that's on them. It's so funny how these women like to act like we're just so consumed with them 24/7, because I can assure you that is not the case. The minute that these videos go up on YouTube and I shut my MacBook, I am no longer thinking about any of these housewives. I have a full life. We think about you when we watch you for 48 minutes on Bravo, and then once the show goes off, we're over it. So as the event is going on, we see Erika, Garcelle, Crystal, and Sutton all at a table, and of course they're talking, joking around, and now Sutton brings up how she is so irritated with Annemarie, and how Annemarie better not mention her esophagus anymore. So of course at this point, we see Annemarie walking over with her husband, and the way Sutton had me screaming, she was like, Annemarie, you and I need to talk. So Annemarie agrees, and Sutton says, no, I mean talk right now. And the way Sutton came in hot, she said, you picked the wrong person. So Annemarie's like, excuse me? And Sutton said, no ma'am, no ma'am. Sutton in that Southern accent take me out every single time. Erika was too funny. She says, now, where I'm from, saying no ma'am like that could get you slapped. So Sutton, you might need to watch out. And I said, I don't think that anybody is afraid of Annemarie. I really don't think Sutton is afraid of her. So Sutton is going off on Annemarie, rightfully so. And now you have Annemarie saying that Sutton has lied 3 times. So now Erika jumps in and she wants to know, what has Sutton lied about? So Annemarie says, well, the first lie was Sutton saying that she can drink and take this medicine at the same time. Now, Annemarie, let's back it up for a minute, because why do you care so much? Why are you so invested in someone else's esophagus? Do you not realize how crazy you sound? Are you not embarrassed? And also, you're not her doctor, and Sutton is not your patient. And how do you know what Sutton's doctor told her? Either way, it's none of your business. That's the main point of all this. You're already out of order for trying to argue with somebody about their personal business that does not concern you. So that's where you messed up at. Annemarie was getting on my nerves, talking about how she's a board-certified nurse. It's like, girl, that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, this does not concern you whatsoever, so leave this alone and shut your mouth. We wouldn't even be having a conversation. We wouldn't have. I'm not doing this. I'm not entertaining this. I am a grown-ass woman, and I don't owe you any explanation about anything, especially not when it comes to my health. So Sutton says, let me clear this up for you. I know what I have, and you said that I made it all up. So Annemarie denies ever saying that, and now Crystal jumps in, and I said, Crystal, let me salute you quickly, because I was so happy to see you come to Sutton's defense and clear Miss Annemarie. So Crystal says, girl, you definitely said that Sutton lied. So of course you have Annemarie trying to backpedal, and she says, no, I didn't say that she lied. I just said that what she said doesn't make sense medically. And Crystal packed you up yet again. She said, yes, you did say that, but you also said that she lied too. I said, get her again, Crystal. I said, whack her again for me, please.
I'm gonna just scoot on over and let you whack him. Get him again. Get him for me.
At this point, Crystal and Annemarie are going back and forth. You have Annemarie denying it. And Crystal says, girl, just admit it. You said that she lied. It is what it is. Just own it. And Annemarie, it's so comical how you want to call somebody else a liar when, girl, you're the biggest liar. I was too done when you said that Crystal was the one who implied that Sutton had the eating disorder. I said, are you serious right now? Let's play the tapes back, please. You literally said out of your mouth that Sutton might have an eating disorder. Crystal and Garcelle checked you on that. And then for you to lie and say, well, Crystal, you're the one who said that. I was just like, come again? Annemarie, you know who to play with, because had that been anybody else, they would have turned you every which way but loose for lying like that. You need help. You're not a good housewife at all. This is not what we want to see. I'm just getting tired of all these wannabes and tryhards coming on these shows and messing it up. It's just like, why are y'all here? You're not even giving us good fashions. Bravo, I don't need to see Annemarie come back in any capacity next season. Kyle, your new friend is a complete flop. Crystal was livid. She was like, Annemarie, are you out of your mind? You're the one who said that. So now Garcelle's like, oh, no, 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 no. You have everybody at this black tie gala staring at us like we're crazy because they're all showing out like this. Now, Garcelle, I was slightly disappointed that you didn't also jump in and say, no, Annemarie, you're the one who said that, not Crystal. The fact that you just said, oh, no, 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 I was like, girl, can you give us more? Like, because I was a bit let down by you not saying that Crystal didn't say that. And again, Garcelle, I love you and all, but I expect more. And that was the time to set Annemarie straight. Like, yeah, Annemarie, you were the one saying that. I'm happy that Garcelle has definitely gotten more activated this season, but there are still times where I feel like she's a bit too passive. So Crystal calls out Annemarie for the fact that she was talking about Sutton's esophagus for 2 hours at Kyle's event. She was like, you were talking to everybody who would listen, and it was so annoying that at one point, me and Garcelle got up to leave because you wouldn't stop talking about it. The way that Bravo played those tapes back, and we saw that from the time they got there, Annemarie is running her mouth about Sutton and her esophagus. And Annemarie, like I said earlier on, you should feel so embarrassed because that is weirdo behavior to be fixated on her esophagus that you're talking about it for over 2 hours at a celebration of life event. You don't feel crazy? I guess Annemarie thought that she ate when she said that she was taught to be a critical thinker, and then she's asking Crystal if she's been to medical school. And Crystal said, girl, you want to play this game? Are you sure? Because did you go to medical school? You were out here telling me that you're an anesthesiologist, but you're actually not. So now you have Annemarie saying, oh, wow, you want to downplay what I do? Girl, nobody's downplaying anything. Crystal is simply calling out a fact. You were out here saying that you're a doctor when you're not. And that's okay, but all Crystal is saying is just be honest. Now, Crystal obviously reached her breaking point. She screams out that Annemarie is a bitch. Everybody is shocked. They're all like, oh my gosh, not at the black tie event. Crystal said, forget about this black tie event. I'm getting my moment. So now Annemarie shares in her confessional that when they were on the Sprinter van to Ojai, Crystal had revealed that she wanted to be a doctor and go to medical school, but when she met Rob, he told her, I want to start a family and I'm not going to wait for you. So she pretty much chose her husband over going to medical school, and she goes on to say that that's probably why Crystal resents her. Now, Annemarie, let's be so for real. I highly doubt that Crystal is resentful of you or jealous of you. I highly doubt it. I think that Crystal is very pleased with the path that she chose. I do not think for a minute that she's resentful of what you have going on. So I said, girl, let's stop that. Let's stop the delusions. But I'm not too surprised because you're the same woman happy about your husband calling you an 8.5. And I watched the after show last week, and when you were talking about how when you and your husband used to date and how he would just say to you, oh yeah, I had sex with her, and her, and you were like, oh, okay, cool, like I don't care. Baby, the way you are the biggest pick-me is really sad. So again, sis, nobody wants your situation. Nobody's jealous of you. Just so we're clear. But I'm happy that you have such high confidence to think that somebody really does want what you have.
No.
But go off, sis. Go off. So at this point, Annemarie turns to Sutton and she gives Sutton the fakest non-apology I've ever heard. So she's like, you know what, Sutton, if I upset you, I'm sorry. But if you want to accept my apology, then that's cool. If you don't, that's cool as well. Annemarie, you're lucky that Sutton isn't petty, because the way I would have said, oh, by the way, you're no longer invited to Barcelona, so you have fun with that. If you want to be petty, I can be pettier. Now, the rest of this scene was them at the silent auction. Then they're in the ballroom. Dorit gives a speech. Paula Abdul is there. She gives a speech as well. There's a musical performance. Everybody's dancing and singing along. So now the gala is over and we see all the ladies at a table and they're talking about their trip to Spain. And Sutton says, look, guys, we're going to Spain in a few days. Friendship is important and we have a lot of stuff to work on. So she turns to Annemarie and she says, look, I like you and all, but you have got to stop talking about me to everybody in this group. So Annemarie has the nerve to be upset and she's like, Sutton, we just talked about this. We just dealt with this. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I said, how dare you be mad at her when you're the one who has started all the drama between you and Sutton? Sutton has every right to keep bringing this up because you're the one who would not let it go. And then you gave her that weak-ass apology on top of that. Then you have Kyle jumping in saying that she only wants positive energy in Spain. And now we flip to the last scene with everybody packing for the trip. And we see Kyle at home and she calls up Sutton. And Sutton's like, look, Annemarie is your girl. You brought her into this friend group. And I need you to tell her to stop talking about me. And you have Kyle saying that she does feel responsible because she did bring Annemarie into this group and she does want to facilitate peace between Annemarie and Sutton. I said, well, finally, Kyle, finally, it seems like you have Sutton's back. It's the least that you could do. You brought this girl on this show and here she is starting with Sutton for no reason because she wants to be your minion and have a storyline. So Kyle gets off the phone with Sutton and now she calls up Annemarie. And Annemarie says that she feels horrible and upset with how things went down between her and Sutton. And I said, I'm happy that you do feel horrible and awful because the way you treated Sutton was completely out of line. Now, Annemarie, once again, the way I laughed when you said that you have no intention of talking to Crystal on the trip, I said, you do know that she's hoping you don't talk to her. Because like Crystal said earlier on this season, you talk way too much. So please know that you're actually doing Crystal a favor by keeping your mouth shut. Nobody's pressed to have you talk to them. The way I'd be paying you dust if I were Crystal, you would not be doing anything to me if you didn't talk to me. I'd be like, oh great, like it's a miracle. Thank you, Jesus, won't he do it?
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Thank you, God.
Annemarie is the epitome of delusional. So now we end the episode with Annemarie calling up Sutton. Sutton had me screaming. She was like, girl, what do you want? I'm eating lunch right now. And Annemarie says, I'm coming to you with my heart in my hands. And Sutton was staring at her through the phone like, girl, what? So Annemarie gives yet another half-assed apology where she refuses to take ownership. And she says, well, I'm just calling to say that I'm sorry for my part in the drama. So Sutton says, excuse me? What do you mean your part? You started this whole entire thing with me. I had nothing to do with anything. And see, the way my patience is set up, I would have hung up on Annemarie. I would have hit end and that FaceTime call would have been over. Because how dare you call me up and you still refuse to own up to what you did. Just apologize and we can move on. But all this extra stuff, oh, well, I'm sorry about my part. You're trying to imply that I was also at fault too? Absolutely not. If I'm at fault, I'll gladly own up to it. But when it's a clear situation where I did nothing wrong and you started with me, I'm not apologizing for anything. So Annemarie tries again with another apology and she says, well, I'm sorry that I pried about something that you don't want to discuss. And I said, see, this is why I take issue with Annemarie. Because it's like you still want to play around. Just say I was completely wrong and I had no right to discuss your esophagus issues with anybody in this group because it's not my business and I was out of line. And again, I'm sorry. Please accept my apology. That's all you needed to say. But all this extra stuff, I just say, yeah, Annemarie, I would have cursed you out because you're still playing around. But Sutton accepts the apology and says that she looks forward to working things out with Annemarie on the trip. And then she thanks Annemarie for calling. So right when you think that the episode is about to go off, we see 24 hours later, the ladies are in Spain, and that first dinner is a complete mess. We see Annemarie accusing Crystal of saying that the ladies are all shallow and not intelligent, and that's where everything ends. And I said, well, damn. I can't wait for this Spain trip, because one thing about it, Beverly Hills always has the best trips, and the drama every time they're away is always chef's kiss, a 10 out of 10. But y'all, that was my recap. Another great episode of Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is giving what the other girls were supposed to have gave, in the words of Rolling Ray. Now, before y'all get upset with me about Miami, I have not forgotten about Miami, but I've just been so busy, y'all. And it's just so many shows on at the same time. I don't know why Andy would put 4 Housewives shows on at the same time. It's too much. And unfortunately, with Miami coming after Beverly Hills goes off, I've checked out. So it's hard for me to watch Miami, because I'm like, well, I don't want to watch any more Housewives. I'm good. I think that Bravo did Miami a big disservice by putting them back on Bravo and giving them the same night as Beverly Hills. They were better off staying on Peacock, coming on Thursdays, and having their own day. Just my opinion. But I plan on doing an overview video for Miami, so stay tuned. But yeah, once SLC goes off, then I'll have some more time freed up, all right? But again, I have not forgotten about Miami. It's just that I have a lot going on, and 4 Housewives shows, it's just too much. And then Married to Medicine, it's like, who can keep up with all of them? But y'all, thank you again for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.